All right, so we're live on Facebook. Welcome everyone to another edition of Supercharged Sunday with me, Emily McHugh, your Supercharged coach and host, and my wonderful guest today, Abby Anderson. Welcome, Abby.
Hello. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for inviting me, Emily. It's wonderful.
It's so nice to have you. I'm having a hold on. Always happens. Oh, good Lord. Okay, there we go. I got it quiet. All right, so let me start to share this. So welcome. We're so happy, and we're happy to have Abby today, all the way from the UK. Where in the UK are you, Abby?
So we're about 25 miles from London. So we're just in Benfleet, South Essex.
In Sussex?
Essex.
Essex.
Okay.
Yeah,
South Essex, yeah.
Okay, I actually grew up in Essex County, New Jersey.
Wow. There's a lot of familiar names, though, I think, between the UK and America. So
Yes, absolutely. So we're happy to, I know it's in the evening for you where you are, and we're happy that you could join us across the time zones. But today we're really in for an extra special treat and a lesson and a lot of things to learn because Abby is a master bookkeeper, an accountant, and she's going to supercharge our numbers today. So if you don't have your pen and pencil, get it out because you're going to need it. Believe you me, you will need it, but it could potentially change your life and really help you, especially if you're new in business or if you've been in business for a long time and need help to kind of make sure you're checking your dots and covering your bases financially. These are some very good insights to have as you do that, and even for your personal life, your own personal budget and so forth. So that's what Abby is going to share with us today. So Abby, how did
yes.
you even get into this business of being a bookkeeper in the first place?
Well, I've always been a numbers person from the earliest time I can ever remember. My parents and my grandparents have always had their own business. So when they were doing the bookkeeping, whether it was my mum or my nan, I was always involved. I always wanted to get into and it was all manual in those days. There was no computers that did it all for you. You had your ledger books and everything else. So I've always had, a passion for numbers, even down to logic problem puzzles rather than word searching. It's more about logic problems. I like to be solving problems, and bookkeeping is a real good starting ground for where I was. Now, I've had over 25 years in the industry, worked in corporates, did work for an accountants for a year, and found that really I like the corporate side of bookkeeping. And I finished up London just before my daughter was born, which was nearly 18 years ago. So I set up my business, my bookkeeping business, in 2013. I've done quite a few examinations. I'm about to do a new one. In the UK, there's CIMA, which is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. So I'm just doing my first year in that, but I'm always learning new stuff and building. I've just now gone limited in the UK. I've now got bookkeepers on my books, and I'm growing really, really well. So I think through COVID, God, it was such an up and down. It was like a roller coaster. What with some clients that couldn't survive and they had to, I've lost clients. But then I've had the other side of it where my consulting, the financial consulting about cash flow, people wanting to know the cash flow. Are they going to survive this? The HMRC, which is our government over here, how to keep on top of all the payroll changes, the furlough, just everything. It was just a mountain of information that we've had to learn ourselves. But yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster. But the future looks bright.
Yes,
let's put it that way. I'm feeling positive, supercharged, as Emily would say.
Yeah, absolutely, Abby, and it's very exciting. So not only, before I forget, not only are we a master bookkeeper, but we are also a Harley Davidson vroom vroom expert as well, are we not?
We definitely are. Yes, me and my husband go out on a Harley Davidson as much as we possibly can. We've got a ultra classic, so we got touring. 2018, I think, was our last tour. 19 was just working, and then 20, obviously with COVID, we haven't been able to get out much. But we are going to Wales, hopefully at the middle of this year, and actually looking and adventuring out in our own country.
Yes, yes, it's wonderful. Well, that's really exciting. So you have a sense of adventure and that creative spirit, but you also have the grounding that comes from the numbers. So that you can marry. So let me ask, before you even get into all the nitty-gritty here, what do you say to someone who says, I'm not a numbers person, I'm not really good with numbers? What do you say to that person?
Okay, so I always see it as numbers tell a story. And if you can read and you're good at reading a book, then you should be good at just reading what your numbers are telling you, as long as you're recording them correctly. And that's what we're going to discuss today, is actually knowing where to start on how to get organized with recording your numbers. And if you want to do it weekly, then sometimes that's a good thing, because you want to be making proactive decisions in order to grow your business. You don't want to leave it a month, really, and then it might be the first week of the beginning of the next month, and then you're 5 weeks without making a proactive decision. So, but if you're small, monthly's fine. It just depends on where you want to be with your business. And I'm going to show you how the weekly and the monthly recordings, using a simplified spreadsheet that I've designed.
Absolutely. So today our topic is supercharge your budget and how to create how to set up your books. And as I said earlier, even if you're not new to business, if you're new, regardless of where you are on the journey, these lessons are important. So Abby, let's dive into how to do this.
Okay. So to start with, this is where most people actually forget where they're at, and when will your business or your side hustle meet your personal financial requirements. So we always, with any new client that I take on that's brand new to actually setting up on their own, we go through a number of things other than just bookkeeping. It's about how you need to register your business if you need to. In the US, I'm sure it's the same as getting your federal and state tax ID numbers. You may have to apply for licenses and permits depending on where you are. But my most important part of this for me, for bookkeeping, is you must set up a personal or business bank account that's separate from your everyday living. And the reason being is because trying to pick out your business transactions in your personal bank account is a nightmare. And it would be so much easier in the long term, even if you've got to subsidize by transferring from your personal to your business to obviously get the cash flow going. At least you've got it completely separate, and you've just got all transactions in one, which are purely for business. Yeah. So I'm going to go straight into this personal survival budget. Now, this is a very scary start, and if you're not prepared to do it, then you might struggle later on. Now, I did it, and I did freak out years ago, but it was the best thing I could have done because it brought me clarity around where I needed to be in my business. It gave me the confidence as well. Okay, that's my goal. I need to earn £2,000 a month, let's just say. And how am I going to do that? So we start off with where my outgoings are to where my bottom line figure is. So I'm just going to do a quick screen share of the personal survival budget. So this is me. I'm Rock Solid Accounting UK Limited. And you'll see a load of tabs along the bottom. You can actually download this spreadsheet, which I've given a fact sheet to Emily, but I'll show you at the end anyway. So we're going to quickly click into the... Okay, why is this not working? It was working fine a minute ago. Why is it not working? Okay, bear with me. Yeah, it's not. Let me just close it and open it up again. Bear with me.
Yeah, no problem.
US dollar.
And this will be a spreadsheet that people will be able to download in the Supercharge with Emily group. So this is a special privilege for those who are members of the group to have access to this amazing spreadsheet, which will be a major benefit to you.
So for some reason, my
it won't let you switch the tabs?
No, I don't know what's going on with my computer. It was working before we went live.
Well, you know what we can do, if you need to switch it in and out, if to go from tab to tab, we just do that.
Yeah, it won't even
I know.
click into my tab. So let me just open it back up again. Oh man, technology.
I know it always does that type of thing. But while you're doing that, Abby, I just want to highlight to people why this is so important. I find what happens is that it's one thing to come up with a business idea and come up with this creativity that you want to start a business and all that's well and good. But it is equally essential to also figure out the structure of the business and the financial wherewithal. And that's what Abby is sharing with us today. And it's
Yeah,
critical. Not only is it important for tax time, which a lot of people think of that, but for just like what Abby said before, making proactive decisions. It's a decision making tool and a tracker, and also a
yeah.
governmental. You need it for that as well. But the primary thing is for making your decisions.
Precisely that. And then, like I said to you, it's like reading a book.
Reading a book. Yeah.
Once you've got your figures in place, it tells a story, and it tells you where you're either overspending, whether you need to inject some more cash flow for advertising or for whatever. The figures will tell a story, and therefore you need to make those decisions based on what they're telling you.
Excellent.
Okay, so hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
so for some reason, when I'm on share, it won't allow me to go to the next tab. So I'm going to have to keep coming out and go back in once
Okay.
I've got the correct page.
Cool.
So the first tab is your personal outgoings. Yeah, for some reason, it's not allowing me to edit my
You can't
screen.
type. Won't let you type while you share it either.
I don't know. I don't know if it's on because of. I'm just having a quick look at the.
Yeah. And for those in the UK, the US, outgoings are your outgoing expenses, what you spend.
Yes,
Pretty much,
precisely this.
or expenses.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason it's not right. Okay, so it's allowing me to do that.
That typed.
That typed, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So on the left-hand side, you've got all your personal outgoing expenditure. Now there are on this side. I think you can see over here. Maybe I might need to make it a bit bigger. Okay, so you've got credit cards and loans and other. If you decide that some of these aren't for your own specific outgoings, I haven't put Amazon on here, and I'm sure a lot of people have got Amazon accounts and used Amazon quite a lot through COVID.
For Amazon, yeah.
So you can put Amazon as part of your outgoings, whether you spend 50 or whatever dollars it is a month. But in the monthly, this is where you'd say, so if you've got a rent or mortgage, you can, I think in the UK, you're only allowed to claim mortgage interest if you work from home as part of your home usage. Now, I don't know what that's like in the USA, whether you're allowed to claim certain proportions.
It's a percentage of the space that you use. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So it's the same as it is in the UK. So if I'm going to put my mortgage is $1,000 a month. My council rates, I don't know if you have the same sort of things, your borough or district.
Is it like a county? Like here we would have county, maybe county taxes, which is similar.
Yeah, which pays for the roads and the police and all those kind of stuff. So let's just put in $150, and then you carry on further down. You've got fuel, motor insurance, road, life insurance, food, toiletries, and household. But there are other here where you can actually, where it says other, you could probably put in there Amazon. So it's over, you can type over it and you can put them in there. And then once you've actually worked out what your expenditure is, here is, if you live with a partner and say, for instance, you share 50% of the costs, then you'd only put your share in here. So if I was to say that mine was 500 and this was 75, then obviously down here is my bottom line figure. So in theory, I would need £575 per month from my business to be able to support my personal living.
Your break even.
This is quite a scary thing, because obviously when you're going through your Amazon account per month, and whether you're going through all your bills per month and you actually see what you're actually spending, like takeaways throughout COVID, rather than actually having to go out for a meal, all those things need to go into this, so you can actually find out what your figure is. And it can be really scary, because you think, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to have a business that's going to support this, and it really does knock your confidence slightly. But don't feel overwhelmed by it, because at least you've got a goal. And sometimes people don't have that goal. They think, yeah, I'm going to set up a business. Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. And yes, I'm going to give up my 9 to 5. But sadly, it doesn't work out that way when you don't even have a bottom line figure of how much you need in order to support your personal life. That's why we all went into business, didn't we? You know, we went into business to have a better life, to be able to have the lifestyle we want, whether it's spending more quality time with our family or, you know, just not having the hassle of working for somebody else. So with that figure in mind, we then move on to the business income and expenditure. Now, this interlinks with the other 2 tabs, which I'm about to go into, which is your monthly record and weekly. Now, you don't need to do both of these. It just depends on where you are in your business, whether you want to do it monthly because there's not many transactions, or whether you want to do it weekly because you want to start speeding up the momentum within your business to be able to start saying, okay, next week I'm going to hit 1,000 sales. The following week I want to hit 1,200. So it just gives you that confidence and that what's the word I'm looking for? The
focus,
the direction of where you need to be.
Yeah.
Excellent. So the monthly record, I've done them as month 1, month 2, up to month 12. Now, by all means, depending on where you start, you can rename them January 22, January 21, whatever it is. Or if you start with your financial year end, you can start it in here. Now, on the revenue side, I've got revenue 1 to 20. So depending on the different types of revenue streams that you have within your business. So for instance, me, I've got bookkeeping, I've got self-assessments, I've got software support, we've got year-end accounts. So they're all different types of revenue streams, and they're the kind of revenue that you put in. So if you sell products, you might have number 1 product, number 2 product, number 3 product, and then you can see which ones are actually selling better than others. And this is where I was saying, when you start analysing your figures, they start telling you a story. And then obviously your expenditure, which is either your direct costs, which is if you are making products, what do you need to buy to make those products for? Or your overheads, which is like your software, your IT, your advertising, your accountancy fees, if you employ somebody, legal costs. If you do rent an office, then obviously the rental would go into this as well. There's a number of expenditure, but there is 1 to 30, so you can overtype these. What I do say is, if you are putting expenditure number 3 and you change it to say IT software, make sure that when you go back to this tab that your expenditure 3 says exactly the same, so you know where you are. Now, once you start entering in some of these details, so let's put in here some of that, this column automatically will total what you've got for that year. This total automatically gets put into here, which is the business income and expenditure, so it's here already. This is divided by 12 because it gives you your average monthly. So when you start at the moment, if I was to earn for 1 month 2,500, it's on average monthly of 208. But if this was to be a lot higher, once I've started entering some more figures in here, let's widen that slightly. It's 10.5. If we go back to this one, it works out what your average monthly. Now, if you were to set up a business with a business partner, and you were splitting the revenue and the expenditure, so basically when you come down to the bottom, you've got a profit. If you were to split that because of tax reasons, whether you do individual self-assessment, if you're sole proprietor but you've got 2 people as one in the business, then you might have to you split the profits of the business for your tax. And it will tell you here, if you wanted to say that you're getting 50%, your business partner's getting 50%, you just basically, I don't know if you guys Excel, if you don't, there are many tutorials, but it's just a key of getting to that cell and divide by 2 because it's 50%. So of that 10,500 revenue, your split is 5.2. But then you've also got to do the same for obviously your expenditure, because at the bottom, this is where it will tell you then that I'm due 5,250 of my profits, and my business partner is also 50% of the profits. So again, this is but you don't need to, the ones where it's grayed out, leave, because it will work it out for itself. Now, I've also done a weekly record, and it looks, wow, this is just too much. But if you are doing weekly bookkeeping, it goes from week 1 to week 52 all the way along. And it's also got totals on the outside. So this, whatever information you put in this document will also interlink with this. So if you are doing, you've got to choose one or the other, monthly or weekly. Don't do both, because the business income sheet will double that, because it's taking it from the monthly and the weekly. But it's just a quick, basic, you can see where you're at, you know where you're going, you can start making decisions week by week. Whether you're seasonal, you can start putting in some columns that you say, well, actually, those that my months that I'm not going to sell because my business is seasonal. So you can make decisions on knowing exactly how much for the first 15 weeks of the year you need to really push those sales in order to survive those little dips. So I just wanted it simplistic. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. If you want to go to something like QuickBooks at Xero, Sage Online, by all means. But sometimes I think for the first time when you're doing it, you need an understanding of where you're at. Sometimes the online stuff can be pretty much overwhelming. And also it costs every single month, whereas this, it's only your time that it's costing to enter the information in.
And you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that for some people, let's say if they're not familiar or comfortable with Excel, or they feel, overwhelmed by a spreadsheet even, they can take a pencil and paper and a notebook and write the columns and manually calculate. So it's not to say if you don't know how to do this, you can't do it. You can do it pencil and paper as well.
Exactly that. If you're not comfortable with doing anything computerized and you want to go to Ledger, that's fair. Do how you feel is more comfortable.
Right.
But by all means, you can copy this, so you can put it into a Ledger, or you can actually put it into a notebook, and then mark them either month 1, month 2, your income, your revenue, and your expenditure, and then do a manual tally every single month, and then have the front sheet, January, whatever, February, whatever. And then at least then you know where you are with your taxes.
Yeah, and also too, because we can say, well, if I don't pay attention to it, I don't need to worry about it, which is sometimes what people will do, and it's not a sage way to run anything, your life or your business. And this allows structure.
Yeah, we're all human beings, and we all procrastinate at some point. And 9 times out of 10, people actually say that bookkeeping is the most boring and draining. And I try to drill down in why they think it's feared. Why is bookkeeping feared? And the fear factor, and it's purely because they do not want to know how much they're spending. They do not want to know, as long as my bank balance is in the black, then I'm happy. It's not. If you want to run a real successful business, get number crunching, really understand those numbers in order to be able to excel in your business.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because what you don't know can hurt you, right? So
yes. It's better to know than not to know, and they say about the unknown, don't they?
Yeah, no, this is really, really wonderful.
So I've also got a fact sheet for you guys that you can download. This is the where to start, and this is the personal survival budget that I've just shown you. I've got one in US dollar, and I've obviously got one in GBP. So you can actually click on this PDF, and it will highlight, as you can see, where you can actually just go and download that Excel spreadsheet. There's also some more useful links, how, when you're starting a business and what the self-employment statutes are. Home usage claims and mileage. So there's certain things that you can claim. So let's quickly just go into claimable expenses, if that's all right, Emily.
Yes, absolutely. So this is, just to reiterate, this is for the USA and UK market in British pounds and US dollars. So thank you, Abby, for having divided it in this way, so it's useful for everyone. But
yes, exactly.
Just to remember, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, it doesn't matter whether you're in America or in the UK. Bookkeeping is pretty much your debits and credits. You don't have to worry about your debits and credits. You just need to enter the income and the expenditure, and you're pretty much there. So I've tried to make it as easy for both audiences, one across the pond and not, for you guys to understand. Obviously, bookkeeping in the USA is slightly different in the terminology of side of things, and obviously taxes is a massive different ball game what it is here. But I think the majority is similar. So
Yeah, and any country wherever you are in the world, you still outgoing, incoming. That's the key. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
So quickly going into claimable expenses, there's a massive grey area in the UK about what you can and can't claim, and they have this very long-winded way of claiming expenses. There are two different types. There's called a simplified expense claim, which gives you a bottom line figure of something ridiculous per month, or to go into more detail, you need to keep a record of how much you are spending on certain things, i.e. if you're working from home, and me and Emily discussed this before we went live, whether you're able to claim home usage if you work self-employed from home. The answer is yes. So things that you can claim is, I know in the UK it is mortgage interest only, not mortgage payments, just mortgage interest, partial of your rent payments, your electricity and gas. Can't claim water usage in the UK. I'm not sure about that in your country, Emily. Clothing, if you have to buy certain specific clothing. So for instance, I've got a friend who I do bookkeeping for. She's a dog walker. Now she needs clothes in order to be able to walk those dogs properly. Now she couldn't just wear her normal trainers. She wants proper walking boots. You can claim if you're a dog walker. However, if you're a dog walker part-time and you have another business or you work 9 to 5, you won't be able to claim it. There is very, very small fine lines in the UK. So I'm not sure about that in the US. You have to be very careful how much you can claim and what the grey lines are. Unfortunately, HMRC in the UK is very grey in its terminology. It's very contradictory and can be quite confusing. Staff, if you employ people, obviously you can claim, that's a claimable expense. Legal and financial costs, marketing, entertainment and subscriptions. Now, entertainment, this is another area within the UK that if you are a sole trader, you cannot claim subsistence. But if you're a limited company, you can. So you might need to read up on your claimable expenses. So the home usage claim that I've put on the link down here for home usage, if you click on that link, it will take you to the IRS about taxpayer and home usage office deductions rule business. Just so you guys know. Mileage is also another claimable expenses. So if you use your personal vehicle, in the UK, you can claim 45p. I believe in the States, you can claim 54 cents. But again, if you look on the mileage, if you click on the tab, it will take you to how much you can actually claim on that. Mm-hmm. So that was the claimable expenses. And then regarding, you can do training courses. So if you're training and it's direct, you need it directly for your business, you can claim the training costs. And then obviously when we come to taxes, that will be something that you'd have to refer to through the government website, because I am not qualified to give advice on USA tax, but I'm sure there's something in there that will give you a brief. And there's going to be loads of people, even Emily, you guys in your group and everything, I'm sure you'll be able to point in the right direction. How does this work?
Yes, this is really wonderful. It's a wonderful groundwork for where people can go. So just to reiterate here, so the useful links will take you to the respective government sites in those countries. So
exactly
right. So in the US, that'll take you to the IRS sites.
Yes, so you've got starting a business. Yeah, is on the USA.gov website.
Okay.
And then you've got your home usage and your mileage claims is all on the IRS.
Yes, great.
But there's some real useful links in there.
And what do you call the UK's version? What is that?
So we've got all it is just www.gov.uk, which is HMRC, which refers to Her Majesty's Revenue and customs. That's what
Okay.
HMRC stands for.
Okay.
And it tells you there's links to home usage and mileage as well.
Very good. Very good. Yes, this is excellent. So, Abby, did you have any other sheets to share, or were these the main ones you wanted to share?
So this is the main sheet, which has obviously got your downloads. This download you can direct. I've kept it in storage in the cloud, so you've got access to it on Amazon storage. So you can download any number of times. It's not just a one-off thing. If you do it once and you muck it up and you think, oh, I'm just going to start again, you can download it again.
Or they could like save it in the original form and then copy it and do a version,
yes.
right?
So
that
this,
work on.
yes, this PDF, I don't know if you want to put this in the Facebook group as a PDF to say this is the quick links
Yes.
on here.
Yes, we will put this in the Supercharged with Emily Facebook group.
Brilliant. So if anyone's got any questions, fire them over to Emily. Emily will fire them back to me.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna
even after the show. I'm happy to help.
So yeah, we can let's unshare the screen so we can see you, and we can open it up for some discussion. What I would say is, Abby, I mean, as far as questions, I'm having trouble looking at my Facebook at the same time as looking on this. That's kind of a little awkward. And I don't want to mess up.
My Facebook's gone. I don't know where it.
But I know, but if people have questions after, they can certainly ask them now. But I certainly have some questions that I can ask. So what would you say are some of the most common mistakes that people make when they're starting a business or even trying to set up their books? Where do they have issues?
I think sometimes depending on the line of business, whether you need stock, so cash flow is going to be a huge thing in the beginning. If you're a service provider like myself, sometimes the cost can be a lot lower. The other thing, it is a constant battle to get the new sole trader to run a separate bank account to their personal living costs. You know, it doesn't have to be a business bank account. It doesn't have to be in the UK. I'm not sure if there's any restrictions in the US, but in the UK, if you open another personal account, then you can just use that primarily for your business transactions. It doesn't really matter as long as you keep it separate. I think the other one is when you're keeping all your receipts. So there is an app which for my new clients that are just starting out in business and they just need some guidance, there's an app called Smart Receipt. God, hold on, bear with me.
Okay.
I've got so many apps. It's on there. Hold on. Yeah, Smart Receipts.
Okay.
So Smart Receipts, can't zoom in on this. Not sure if you can see, but it's that one there.
With the dollars, the money sign with the light bulb.
Yeah, it's a purple with a light bulb with a dollar sign inside it.
Okay.
Now, it's a free app. You do get adverts at the bottom. Unfortunately, you can actually upgrade to a single user if you wanted to with no adverts, but it doesn't bother me. And it's so easy to be able to put your receipts. You can take a photo of the receipt, you type in what it is, and then you store it. And then you can email, once you've gathered a load over the month, say if you're doing a monthly bookkeeping, you just want to snap all your receipts, stores it all in here, and then you send it via email, a PDF of your transactions, a CSV file, and all the images of your receipts. You can, as soon as you've taken a photo of it, you can chuck the receipt away.
So no more keeping that box of receipts.
No more keeping receipts.
Yes. Yeah.
That's another bugbear.
Yes. So, you know what? Going back to the part about opening a bank account. So here in the US, they do encourage a business bank account, which tends to have maybe different privileges or what have you. But if you're not, but sometimes the bank balance required to open it can vary greatly by bank. Some could be as low as $100, some can be $2,000. So it depends on your bank. But you can definitely find one, especially now with all the online banking as well. But it's really critical to have that separate account, that just as Abby is saying, to not commingle the funds.
No.
So
exactly.
yeah,
The other one was about the receipts. I mean, I have my annual clients that come to me saying, here you go, here's all my books, do my self-assessment. And I've not got one of those now that do that, because they send me on a monthly basis a PDF or from the Smart Receipts app, because they're very old school. They do use a mobile, but that's as far as it goes. They take a photo and they send it to me every single month, and it's easy for me then to extract that information and put it into a template in readiness to do their tax return.
yes.
Makes your life easier, believe me, if you put yourself organized.
It makes a tremendous amount of difference. It saves so much stress to develop the system from day one. The sooner the better. And so the other thing you're talking about, the personal assessment, what does that entail when you do that for someone?
So the personal assessment for me is if I get their bank statements, I've got their receipts, I list all of their income and expenditure for the year, and match up the receipts as best I can, whether it starts off as 001 right up to 999, depending on how many receipts there are. Mm-hmm. So I've labeled them, and then I extract that information, or I put that information within the HMRC government website to file their tax returns on their behalf. Now, if you use an agent like myself, I'm an agent in theory for working on behalf of them to file their self-assessments, then that's what you would need to give them. If you're going to be doing it yourself, then it's a priority for you to really understand where your income and expenditure is, and to try maybe find somebody that's done a self-assessment if you've never done one before within the US, just to pick their brains on how to complete it, because they're not the easiest. Even from my perspective, some of the questions are quite misleading. They don't actually, you read the question, you think, I don't understand what they're talking about. And then you read it again, you go, I'm still confused. And then when you get someone else to explain it, they go, why didn't they just ask that in the first?
So is it a UK government form, the personal assessment, or is that something that you do for your clients? I just want to get clarity on that. I think my internet froze.
There's quite a few number of different essays, which is self-assessment. I know in America you've got your own, is it right? I can't remember. You've got so many different types of forms compared to us. I did do a little bit of homework, but unfortunately I didn't.
Yeah, no, we do. No, don't worry about that at all. No, we have. I mean, we have the returns that you actually file. I don't know if we have it. Maybe that's the terminology you're using. That the form that you file is called the assessment. Yeah, our internet is acting up on.
Yeah, so a tax return is like a self-assessment.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Yeah. Yeah, Abby, are you able to hear me okay? Because I think my internet froze a little bit. It likes to freeze on Sundays for some reason.
Ship. Emily, you've gone.
Am I gone? Oh no, am I back?
Emily's network bandwidth is low.
Oh, I'm breaking the internet, everybody. I think I break the internet every Sunday. I break the internet. Oh Lord.
I was gonna say, I don't think they're like me talking.
It's all on me, Abby. It's all on me. But yeah, so okay, so maybe different terminology, the tax returns. Okay, very good. So those are the two things: the bank account, the business receipts. And what do you say for someone who says, I'm just starting and I don't have much sales, it's not even worth recording, I only have one, I don't have any. How do people transition into the mindset of it's not even about how much you have, it's just about putting
it's all about 100%. I think the quicker you start, and even if you've only got a few transactions per month or per week or whatever it may be, it's good to get into a routine of doing it. Now, some people will do it and they get disheartened, well, this is just a failure, or this is not working, and this. Try not to have those destructive thoughts. Have a look at it and to tell you, actually, they're telling me a story. I only made 250 quid. Why? Now, as well as I do, Emily, we've been on Abby Connell's training. She goes on about the 7 levels of why. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
You might want to refresh us on it.
Sorry.
You may want just share with what that is, so for people who don't know, because I'm not
Okay,
quite.
there's seven levels of why, and this is not just about bookkeeping. This is just life in general. You know, if you come across a problem and you go, well, why did that happen? So, for instance, if why, I'm trying to think of an example, but if you say, okay, so why did that happen? And you go, well, because, and it might have been out of your control.
Mhm.
Then the next question again is why did that
Yeah.
occur? And then you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to the last why, and that should be like the root cause. And sometimes it's like, if you don't take control of what you can control, and it's about, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Serenity Prayer.
Yes, I
You know,
have
about,
heard of
yeah,
that. Hmm.
about the courage to know the difference as well, or the wisdom to know the difference, and the courage to change the things that you can. And it's the things that you can change, and that is about your mindset around doing bookkeeping. And everybody hates it. I have it all day long, and I love it because I love being able to have somebody that says, I hate bookkeeping, Abby, it's boring and I'm not good at it. Well, do you want to learn and how it can actually be really positive for your business? You are the person that sits with so many hats on. You know, you've got your advertising hat, you've got your hat, and then you've got your normal, I'm now selling my product, or my not used to wearing that particular hat, we've got no interest at all, then if you've got no interest in your finances, then really you should be setting up business.
Yeah.
But if you do, there is, you need to get into that. And I did a number slayers night school over a year ago now, and we went through understanding bookkeeping, and we did it over 12 weeks, and it was really fun. I made it fun. Those conversations of how to make those decisions to, okay, next week I want to do this to make, I made £1,000 in 1 month. Okay, how am I going to make 1,200? Then you start, the cogs start working, and then you go, and then you get excited about your business again.
Are you going to be doing the
again, I'm just
No, I love it.
away.
Are you going to do the number slayer
All
program
right.
again? Will you do it again?
So it was I did a number slayers night school in the UK here, which was all on Zoom, and we went through, I did a massive workbook that I sent out to everybody. So they had a workbook as well as the online downloadable sheet that I'd given them. And we went through and did a whole year's worth of bookkeeping in 12 weeks.
Wow. So is this something you're going to do every now and again, or is it just once a year you're doing that?
So no, I did it as a one-off. Obviously, then when COVID hit, well, it just went completely nuts. I think we did lose the last 3 weeks of the night school.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it was fun, and I wanted to make it fun. I didn't think
Oh, you know what, let me turn off my video for a moment.
I
Might help.
know it's an important part of my business.
Mm-hmm.
So do I have to do it, or do I delegate it? And that's a decision you can make later on. But for now, you really do, as a business owner, really need to understand your figures to move forward.
No, absolutely. And as you were saying, and I just turned off my camera for a moment, so hopefully it will help our internet a little bit. But the importance of, as it's a mindset shift, and not only is it a mindset shift for your business, but your personal life. And so sometimes people will say, okay, well, I'll do it for my business, but I don't have to do it for me. But you really should. How do you address that, Abby, of kind of that duality of doing it personally? Because on your spreadsheet, you're showing it the personal survival budget as the launch pad to the business.
Exactly. And I think it's the massive shock. And if you're not prepared to do something like that, then you're never really going to get a grip of where your business is financially. And that's quite crucial in this day and age. You know, we need to be making proactive decisions, not reactive. And reactive, unfortunately, is some people where they're not being, they're not understanding their figures, or they don't want to, or they're just going by their bank balance, and the bank balance isn't always the case, because you forget that you've got other bills that you need to pay that need to come out of that balance. So it can be quite even though you've got it in the black, it feels like a very positive and comforting, but when you actually look at the detail, it's not about that. It's really about how you're functioning and whether or not you can make more income.
Yes, yes. So, what would you say to someone as far as setting up the habit or the practice of starting to do this? Like, during the week should they do it? How should they go about incorporating it as a new ritual?
So I would always say that it depends when your time of the day is. Some people are morning birds and they like to have their exercise, their coffee, and then they need to be sat at their desk by 7:30 in the morning. 9 o'clock, most of the time, the phone starts ringing, so you've got an hour and a half. If you're a morning person, that would be the first thing to do yesterday's bookkeeping. Get up to speed of where you're at, and then also do your forecasting. What bills have I got to pay this month? Am I going to be able to afford it? When do I need to start chasing? If you're a service provider and send out invoices, when do I need to start being proactive in chasing these people before my bank balance goes in the red and I've got no money to pay my bills? I need that income in order to do that. So it's actually doing it when you feel good. And it's sometimes, most of the time, the people that get really excited about their business, that's the good time to do it. It's the most boring part. And if you've ever read the book, Eat That Frog,
Eat that frog.
About procrastination. If you eat that frog first thing, you know that the worst thing's out of the way for the rest of the day. But you will start to change and get excited, especially when, the income's coming in, you're looking at your figures, you're knowing when to be proactive enough. The only time when it does start to get really bad and you think, I don't want to look at the books because I feel not confident, I don't feel good in myself, or I'm not right there in my business yet. And in fact, that's probably the most important time, when you're feeling like really low.
Yeah.
You have to face that fear and do it anyway, because in order to have those, okay, well, I've not made enough this month, it's again 7 levels of why didn't it work? Is it because I wasn't motivated? Was there something in my personal life that created something that made me not want to get on with it? There's so many different reasons. But I think when you were saying about mindset, I mean, I'm probably the worst person to ask, even though I do clients' bookkeeping. It's my bookkeeping that always gets done last. And that's because I'm doing everybody else's.
Right.
But mine isn't the fear of what have I spent or what haven't I, because I've got a full cash flow for the next 9-10 months. So I know when money will start dropping off before I need to get more money coming in. But it makes me proactive. I can actually see it before it happens.
Right. So how do people create a type of a forecast flow? That can be scary.
So once they've got an understanding of their month, so for instance, if you've only just started out and you've got maybe a couple of months worth of bookkeeping under your belt, you still pretty much know where your sales are, you know what your fixed overheads and costs are. You can then start using those figures and then start saying, well, next month, okay, the last 2 months, the average earnings were, I don't know, say £5,000, $5,000. And of that 5,000, am I going to do the same next month? Well, no, you want to grow your business. So next month, I'm going to put a goal in of 6.5. How am I going to get 6.5? How am I going to do another 500? You look at your revenue streams and you look at where your high cost and your low cost products or services might be and go, okay, I want to do a promotion on one particular revenue stream in order to get that extra $500. Then you look at your overheads. What can I cut? What can I do as a comparison? Do I go on a website and look at my overhead costs? Is there something else out there cheaper? Do a bit of research. There's all things, as I say, the figures tell a story. And if I'm spending too much or too little and I need to reinvest, it's those kinds of things that provoke those questions when you start reading your numbers.
Excellent. So it really is kind of detaching emotion from this process as well, because if you look at it like how I feel or I don't like or this or that, it's really supposed to be an impartial objective document that just lays
Mhm.
out facts. It's not judging you. It's not you can make decisions based on it, but you shouldn't be intimidated by the documentation. I'm gonna try my
No.
camera again, see if I can come back on.
You know, if you didn't do as well as you'd hoped because your goals maybe they weren't realistic enough, or again, it's like the 7 levels of why. Asking the question of why, it's like being a psychologist. If you understand the why, and we always say, why do we go into business? There's always a why, and there's always an answer to that why. And if you can crack that, well, most of the time when I ask my clients why they don't like bookkeeping, it's because they don't want to see the real figure of the profits that they think they had, when actually the reality is slightly different. I say slightly, some of them are quite drastically different, because they have this sense of security by looking at their bank balance. Oh, I've got £1,000 in the bank. Yeah, but will you have this time next week once all your payments are done? Well, no, that's not the point. And they don't want to look at it. And that's a different kind of mindset. In order for you to make those, you have to go down that scary road. You have to go, do you know what? The JFDI, as I always say, Emily, and I won't swear because obviously there's no profanities on this show. But I am that JFDI. What's the worst can happen? You know, I always see it. What's the worst that can happen? Am I going to die? No. Great. Let's get on with it then. And that's how I view things pretty much now. And that's just because of my own personal life experiences where, you know, I don't just sit and dwell on the if, buts and maybes. I look at facts. I look at solutions. And there's always a positive to every negative. It's like when it rains, everything, oh, it's raining. But hang on, a plant needs water just as much as the rain, as the sun. So you still need both. You need the yin and yang. You need, you know, stuff to go wrong in your life or in business to actually go, actually, I'm going to turn this upside down. What was my learning experience from this? And I know we're going a little bit away from bookkeeping,
No,
but it is,
no, it's all totally the same.
yeah,
Absolutely
it's all
relevant.
about mindset. And if you have a bad day, just call it a character building day. That's what I call it. Yeah, I've had a character building day today. Not a you know, bad day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
character building. It's where it's what making me. And it's really hard when you're starting out. I remember 8 years ago when I first started out, it was probably the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life on my own. But now I wouldn't change it for the world. I would never go back to working for someone else. I just wouldn't. And I was worried about that because it was the unknown.
Yeah.
But you are your own person. You are your own destiny. You write it. Don't hell for high water. Whatever comes in your path, it's a learning experience. Yeah, it was not a good experience, but you still learn by it. It still gave you an answer.
Yes,
And that's exactly where I see figures. You read a book, you read your bank balance. Yeah, your bank balance isn't really what it's telling you. You need to be looking through the lines, the transactions, what's going to happen in a week's time, you know, month's time, 6 months time.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think for what we've done today is the basics to get you started doing your weekly or monthly bookkeeping. And then when you actually then start thinking, I really need some more help on now being able to push my business forward. How can I make those proactive decisions? What help do I need now in order to push myself forward? What questions do I need to start asking myself? And that's the next level.
So how do you know when it's time to hire a bookkeeper?
There are 2 different types of people that hire a bookkeeper. One, a bit like me when it comes to marketing, I'd rather outsource it. But it also comes down to the cash flow. If you can't, then you have to do it yourself. But I think it's crucial for any business owner to really understand where your business direction financially is going. So I think it's important to do it first.
Yes.
But then you'll get to a point where you think, do you know what? I want to spend my evenings now with my family, not doing my bookkeeping of an evening. That would be the good time to probably say, do you know what? I'm just going to hire somebody just to do it.
Right. That's right. And as you said, knowing it for yourself first, even if you do get the support, at least you know what they're doing and you understand the process. I don't think anyone should just relinquish their business.
No.
Oh, my accountant will take care of that. That's not the mindset to have at all. And so,
They might take care of the year end and your finances and your financials and your IRS status and blah blah blah, making sure you're all legit.
mm-hmm.
But it's actually having that conversation. And then, unfortunately, some accountants, I know there's a few that I'm very much associated with, are very proactive. They like to be involved with their clients on a monthly basis. Bookkeepers are a daily basis to a weekly basis, and they are actually more valuable than an accountant from
Mm-hmm.
a business perspective if you want to grow, because they are the ones that deal with all the bookkeeping on a daily basis. They can see the figures, they can see the expenditure, they can see what's working, what isn't, and they're the best person to be able to advise you once you've obviously taken on that, to be able to be communicative on a weekly, monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Accountants are pretty much an annual thing, but I know that they are becoming, there are some out there that are very proactive. But I love it. I love the interaction. I like to be able to say, well, look, this is, you're a bit skewy here. We need to pull you in line.
Yes. And Abby, so tell us how people can work with you. What is the bookkeeper quote behind you there, and how can people work with you and connect with
Okay,
you?
so I've got two businesses. I've got my own bookkeeping and accountancy firm, which is Rock Solid Accounting. But I've also got a SaaS product, which is purely for bookkeepers in the UK. We are wanting to expand to America in the next 5 years. Fingers crossed, hopefully no more viruses decide to pop up in it. But if they need information or they need some guidance, even if I am a UK bookkeeper and not American and I'm not really understanding, please find someone that you can actually lean on, or find a group within your community that really, if you're struggling with something, you can go in. You're more than welcome to email me at any time, or I haven't got a Facebook group as such. I've got a Facebook page, which is my Rock Solid Accounting page. I did have Number Slayers Facebook group, but because I haven't been in it, because I've been so busy with my SaaS product,
Yes.
the last 18 months, I've not really been in there, and I can't give too much value, but always on email. WhatsApp's always been a good thing for me with groups and stuff, but you're more than welcome to email me at any time.
Excellent. And they will have that information on the downloads, and I'll also put that in our group. And also, when I do the blog post, I will link to your website so people can connect with you there as well. So, Abby, this has been so wonderful. We've come to the top of our time. Time goes by when you're having fun doing bookkeeping.
There you go.
Yeah. So I hope people will be, you will be motivated to take to heart what you've shared, because it's so valuable and really lays the foundation for everything you do in your business. And it creates a structure that we all need, and it's only for our benefit. So we should really embrace it as something very positive and fun. Make it fun for yourself. I don't know. Join it with a fun thing that you like, and make it a fun thing you look forward to, because it really is key.
Well, I was going to say, I do some sessions with some of my clients, and we call it Bailey's and bookkeeping, which is the Bailey's liqueur on ice. we have a drink of an evening while we're doing bookkeeping. So she knows on a monthly basis what she's done. And then
so it's like bookkeeping happy hour. I'm going to turn this off again.
Proactive decisions, but we have it with a Bailey on alcohol, by the way. But yeah, I do try to make it a little bit less daunting than what bookkeeping appears to be.
Yeah, well, I'm sure having you as their bookkeeping guide, Abby, it makes it a lot more fun. Not only are you very no nonsense, you'll keep them on track, but they'll have that lighthearted spirit as well, because after all, you do ride up a Harley, so therefore you do know how to enjoy yourself.
I certainly do.
Yes, but this has been great. Thank you so much, Abby. This is excellent. And
well, thank you for letting me come on. And I know I'm a UK bookkeeper and not American, but hopefully I've been able to touch on some points that, suits your audience as well.
Absolutely. They're very much universal, what I call universal business principles that are necessary for all of us, no matter where we are. So that's what it is. So I'm going to say goodbye to our Facebook group. And if anyone has any questions after watching this, just put it in the comments and we'll address your questions from there. But thanks so much, everyone, for being with us. And thanks again, Abby.
No problem. Thanks again.
Okay, I just stopped the live stream. I'm gonna stop the other one. That was